You're at a job interview. You get the "What is your biggest weakness?" question. What is your answer? Confidence. Need to stop second-guessing myself and realize that I'm good. Being poor, but I'm working on improving that by getting this job. Seat sniffing. Don't worry, it's not creepy, it's actually a huge compliment. Poor penmanship and swearing too much are my go-tos. Hiring managers usually get a chuckle out of it. If you're applying for a position in a daycare center, the swearing can be ignored but not the poor penmanship. My usual go-to is that I have had difficulty with taking criticisms personally, especially against me when in a leadership role. I then follow up with talking about how I'm working on it and feel I've improved as I've taken on roles with more responsibility. It is an annoying question, but if you can find something to talk about honestly, and also explain how you are working to improve it, you're golden. I have difficulty taking criticisms personally. Sounds like something you might want to work on. You know what? You. I've been accused of plagiarism before. Their words, not mine. Had a guy tell me once in an interview his weakness is cheesecake. We hired him. I usually say that I've been told I work too quickly, but I'm learning to strike a balance between working quickly and reducing errors. My last boss told me that I'm condescending and that it's a huge area I need to work on. That means I talk down to people. Kryptonite. Priapism. People don't like to work alongside me. I'm too humble, perhaps the most humble person on the planet. I don't do good work when I'm multitasking. Since I know this about myself, when I am managing multiple projects at once, I allot time to concentrate on each separately. Any manager that doesn't have enough people skills or self-awareness to know that everyone is shitty at doing two high-level thinking tasks at once is not someone I want to work for. This might only be applicable to someone newly out of college or applying for entry-level jobs. But I had a professor tell me to say lack of experience. If you're applying for an intro-level job, it's expected. It's a weakness that's not really your fault, and you can spin it as a reason you should get the job. I do this. I always say, well, since I'm still a student, lack of practical experience in this field. Most of my knowledge is theoretical from class. However, I am excited, motivated to apply what I learned in class to the real world. Always something that can be turned into a positive. Sometimes when I'm in a situation that's sort of inauthentic and artificial, I just lean into it a little. I'm not a jerk about it, but I'll do or say something that just highlights the absurdity before I get back on task. What would you say is your biggest weakness? Oh wow, probably no-win situations, especially in high-pressure circumstances where I'm faced with being asked to perform a task that directly undermines my main objective. The better I complete that individual task, I'd think that, overall, those in charge of directing me in the situation would also want to achieve the overall objective too. So I'm left torn between wanting to perform both the immediate and overall tasks to my best ability, yet the former makes the latter more difficult. In the end, unfortunately, I usually tend to settle for a lukewarm middle ground that involves teasing out a creative interpretation of the counterproductive task and addressing it in a way that shows dedication and good faith effort while at the same time sidesteps most of the more problematic implications of its completion. Me, I can be very vague. Interviewer, care to elaborate? Me, yeah. Honesty, I don't think that's really a weakness. I don't give a shit what you think. I'm terrible at interviews, got me my job. Bullets, both the gun kind and I use too many in PowerPoint presentations. They are called bullet points. Bullet points are not the same as bullets. You can never use too many bullet points in PowerPoint presentations. I have this glowing blue eye right in the middle of my forehead that I open every 30 seconds. 5 arrows through it knock me right out. Why do you ask? I usually approach it honestly. I'm super hard on myself to the point that it can be counterproductive, so I typically don't need a lot of coaching when I f up, but I need to be reminded to move on. Either my crippling alcoholism or penchant for theft. But I'm working on it. The problem with kleptomaniacs is that they always take things literally. I have very little patience for questions that are designed to force me to act in a way counter to my best interests. I have a solid management background. I always tell them that I am bad at delegating. I prefer to do it myself so I know it gets done right and on time. That it is hard for me to trust other coworkers at first. That answer seems to work so far. I know it's an honest answer and I appreciate that. But it would be a red flag for me as an interviewer. Delegating is just such a huge part of being a good manager. The year is 2015 and I'm interviewing for my first job at an unnamed game studio. I'm super nervous. I did the pre-interview tests and they liked them. And I get the question. I get really nervous and I talk a lot and ramble. It's pretty much word vomit until my brain catches up with my mouth until I catch up with what I just said. And most of the time I can't really remember the question. It got a lot of laughs in the room but I really couldn't remember at the time what the director just asked me. Did they ever name the game studio? I was on an interview panel and one of the candidates said their biggest weakness was I always need to know why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's a stupid question and I refuse to ask it. It's a poorly structured attempt to establish a person's capability for learning and self-reflection. A better way to phrase it would be something like, tell me about the biggest mistake you have made at work. What happened? How did you resolve it? And what did you learn from it? Honestly, interviews. I've got a great work ethic, and am a petty quick learner but my interview skills are pretty lacking. The back of my neck is extremely sensitive. If someone were to grab me by my neck and dig their nails in, I'd most likely pass out, therefore making it easier for someone to steal items. Sometimes, when I'm taking a dump, my dick lines up perfectly with the crack between the bowl and seat and one accidentally pee all over the back of my pants. But I'm working on it. Do you want the real answer? Or the weakness that's actually a strength answer that everyone is supposed to say? Your eyes and then I lean in for the kiss. I don't let people walk over me so I assume that's gonna be a problem for you guys. So I don't think you're fit for the job. Not letting you *****************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************̈̈̈̈ Interviewer: what is your biggest weakness? Me: I have no weakness, no vulnerability. I am the all. No man can best me. No woman can resist me. My power is absolute. I am what the night fears and the sun flees each day. To look upon me is to know your inevitable demise. At the end of time I will cry tears of burning oil and open my 1,000 mouths and herald the end of all that is. When nothing is left I will lord over the darkness and ash of all that was and all that will be. That you would imply that I am not everything that encompasses the reality you can see and the realities behind the veils of your sanity tells me that you will be the first to be consumed in the blood and shadows that hide behind this world. Look upon my true form and know death. But if I had to pick I'd say that I have some difficulty with adding pictures to a Word document. Interviewer: now just a soul bound to the blasted and charred skeleton and existing on the line between life and death. And in eternal agony I think that's all the questions I have. We'll let you know when we've made a decision. Me: wonderful. I'll look forward to hearing from you. When I'm sexually aroused I stutter. I have a strong desire to make sure that things are done and done correctly. Unfortunately, at times that has led me to be distracted and concerned with things that other employees or my subordinates are responsible for. It's been part of my growth as a supervisor to trust that my employees can perform their jobs properly and verify that they are doing it, instead of hovering or doing it for them. Honest answer followed by how you're improving. I tend to procrastinate but I keep that at bay by sticking to a to-do list etc. Wooden stakes to the heart. Not that I'm a vampire. I'm just pretty sure that would kill B. I pay too much attention to the small details and may lose track of the bigger picture. My answer to that question at the local ice cream parlor was my biggest weakness is chocolate. I got the job, and a free scoop of chocolate ice cream every day I worked there. Hand them a quality business card that says I over-prepare. Strength. Strength is my weakness. Terrified at public speaking is usually the one I go with. It's fairly relatable but easy to brush off by saying I get past it through practice. It also has the benefit of being true. I sing in the shower. Sometimes I spend too much time volunteering. Occasionally I'll hit somebody with my car. Interviewer: what is your greatest weakness? Me. Answering the semantics of a question while ignoring the pragmatics provided by the context. Interviewer: interesting. Could you give me an example? Me: yes. The obvious ones are those "I'm a perfectionist, I suppose. It's one of my biggest weaknesses. But they are so cheesy and BS. The best is just being honest. My biggest weakness: I'm a fat mofo, and if anyone leaves food on my desk it's getting eaten, no questions asked. Just had an interview. Was honest. Remembering people's names. I think most people can relate to that, too. And I mentioned that I have developed strategies to make sure it doesn't get in the way. Got the job offer. Well, I'd say my weakness is the cause of me getting fired from my last 8 jobs. I bring in too many turtles apparently. I don't know how many the right amount of turtles is because I've brought anywhere from 50 up to 300. It seems unreasonable to bring less than 50, so I just don't get it. I would be honest during my interview about how many turtles I plan to bring to work with me and let loose in the facility. But they never ask, what about you guys? How many turtles do you guys bring to not get fired? Thank you for your time, but I don't believe this is the right fit. Please delete my contact information.